Art has always been a way for people to express themselves. Arts education has always been deemed as important, but it's always been treated as otherwise. Rahm Emanuel and other CPS officials promised that all students across the city would receive an education in the arts. In 2014, Raise Your Hand Illinois conducted a survey and collected data from about 170 Chicago public elementary schools. They discovered that 65% of those schools don't offer the minimum 2 hours of arts education per week.
My name is Gregory Buckner. I'm 17. I go to Shy Arts.
My name is Zion, and I am a dance major.
Tyler Jackson, I'm 17 years old. I go to the Chicago High School of the Arts.
My name is Armani Howard. I am 22 years old. I am a working artist.
With dance, there are different types. So each type, I dance in contemporary, modern, jazz, and lyrical. And in those dances, my emotions, they influence my moves. So that's how I express myself.
I feel like throughout any style I use, like painting, drawing, illustrating, or anything graphic, color is usually something that's very consistent. I usually consistently use the same color palette to enforce my ideas.
Get in the idea of what my style is, one, but then also just experimenting with it and experimenting with the influence of other styles, experimenting with just all the different types of art that's out there, because within it goes back into your own work. So if you go out into the world and you experience new things, and I kind of use that loosely, it doesn't actually have to be just painting. It could be food, it could be music, it could be someone's culture, that's all art. So if you go out and you experience as many of those different things as you can, then that's going to eventually influence your art, because you're now taking in so much new stuff that you can take inspiration from. You're taking so many new factors of the world that you're living in to experience the work itself and just art. If that was the mindset we had for everything, the things around us we wouldn't have. We wouldn't have cameras, we wouldn't have planes, we wouldn't have any of that stuff.
I get a little bit upset because with art, you're supposed to express yourself.
What am I supposed to be doing then? If I'm not doing this, is there something I should be doing?
I really don't care what anybody else say, because if you want to do it, you should do it, because it's your life. It's all about you. It's not about what anybody else thinks about you.
That's also why I chose dancing, because with dance, there are no limitations, and I can express myself in any other way.
I'm not gonna conform to what I'm supposed to be doing, because that's an idea that doesn't really exist.
So it's kind of goes into a whole nother story of things, but it's just that person's personal fear, and they don't do that in their own life. So yes, because you are both in the same world of things, if you want to try something that you think that yes, it may be a lot of work, just do it. Just try it. I don't know, that's just to me, that's just the most demeaning thing you could do to someone. If someone's trying to do something that, just because it's not the conventional way, yes, it's not science, you can blow something up if you don't chemically do it right, but besides that, you should be able to try anything. Just because you're at a certain level doesn't mean that you can't just keep shooting for something bigger, because then it's what are you going to do at that point?
What inspired me to dance was when I was 5 years old, and I was in my first recital. I guess after that I always wanted to be a dancer, and since I was told I couldn't say certain things growing up and I couldn't do such things growing up, I chose dance, because with dance I can do whatever I want and no one can tell me what I can and can't do.
Just looking at different stuff on the media, if I really to see what they're doing and I really want to go for it, it inspires me to actually push myself to do it, because I just feel we can do anything that we put our mind to. So, and what really inspires me is myself, to be honest, because I believe I can do whatever I want. So yeah.
At first, it was just like the possibility of like what I can do. Seeing like a painting for the first time, seeing like artwork for the first time, and just like realizing that like a human did that. And I don't know, I just don't want to make this seem like it's very cheesy, but like at this point now it's like completely different. I want to like see how many people I can like positively influence in the world.
When I was younger, my elementary school didn't have art class for at least 5 years. So, and I really didn't have like a lot of people in my school didn't have a lot of experience with art, and art can portray your feelings in so many different ways.
It was kind of cheesy though. It was like you use Crayolas and like that. Even now, I've gotten older and I've been able to appreciate those like those materials, because like, yeah, it's like it's color pencils. It's still something you can create artwork with, but like we also had art teachers that weren't very like thought-inducing. Like they weren't like, it was just kind of one of those things where it's like, here's some construction paper, here's some crazy scissors, some glue and color pencils, have fun. And like, yeah, it almost becomes like, it almost just becomes like a joke. Like the way school approaches art, it's like a joke the way they treat it. So we did, but I wouldn't, now that I know what art is, I wouldn't consider it an art class.
When I was in elementary school, I had an art class pretty much from when I started until I was in about the 7th grade, when I guess like CPS, like budget got cut or whatever. So like, I've had an art class for a majority of my life. There were like maybe 2 or 3 years where I didn't, because, you know, since I go to art school, I kind of have that extra education. But outside of that, no, not really. Yeah, I feel like school should provide an arts education, like even not just in art, but like bring back art classes and like dance classes, like music classes, just because I feel like if kids who like, there are a lot of kids who aren't exposed to like those type of things, and if they had that exposure, then they would feel, you know, more open to express themselves, and they would be less into like social media and like stuff that kind of distracts you from the world outside. Like I feel like art classes would just help you gain an appreciation for kind of like the world around you.
At least like get the idea of like what you can do with art and like what's the possibilities of it. There should be more of like a realistic focus of it. The only thing is that a lot of people, like a lot of teachers and instructors, like it's kind of sad because like art is a very like, it should be a very unbiased and open thing, but a lot of like art teachers can tend to be very limiting. Like once like a younger artist or just anyone who's younger, they just think that it's like you can only do so much at that point in time. And like, yes, that's true. Your art gets refined over time. You become more experienced and become better the older you get. But it's just limiting if like you're shooting for the stars at a very young age. Mold that so that way when you do get older, you're even better than what you were when you were younger. Like it should be mandatory almost. Like as much as we have like gym and like math and all those things, it should definitely be mandatory, but it should be refined and like, I don't know, they should just go back to the drawing board with it and just like treat it as if it was one of those other classes.
People have always had different ways of expressing themselves, and within those communities, boundaries have been set, thus holding them back and telling them that they can't work outside of their chosen medium. The people shown here are not bothered by what people say and do it anyways because it's what they love to do. Hopefully, city officials will one day recognize how much of an impact art can have on a student.
Art is like, it's kind of like at this point in time, it's like undermined and like how powerful it is, but you can like change someone's life with art. Someone can look at something and can be from a certain area, and like just because they looked at something that they didn't understand and it touched them, they're now influenced to like want to go do something.